bloody welcome, to this show which is called
Sunday Chat.
Welcome, Paul.
Morning.
Morning. It's Friday morning.
It is.
It's Friday morning.
Oh, I got an itchy eye.
Oh, don't rub too hard.
No, it might pop out.
Oh, disgusting. So, yes, bloody welcome. Thank you for tuning in to the show. And we'd like to say a big bloody thank you to all our new subscribers, new followers on all platforms such as Instagram,
Twitter.
That one.
Instagram,
Facebook.
Planet Vegetaria.
Our Facebook group, Planet Vegetaria.
YouTube.
Which is a Facebook group by Richard Paul since 2017. That's contractual. And, of course, our faithful old subscribers on YouTube.
I said YouTube.
So, good morning.
What about coffee?
Oh, well, naturally, our coffee supporters, of course, Paul. How could one forget those lovely people? Thank you. So it's an interesting one this morning, isn't it, Paul?
Well, it's breezy out there.
Right, yeah, let's just stop with the breezy. I'm a little bit on edge, to be honest, because London...
He's been on edge, actually, since Wednesday.
London is under a red warning, a red storm warning. So in the UK we have normal conditions, which are green, I guess.
I assume so.
Normal.
Yeah.
Then we have yellow, which is, be a little bit careful.
It's amber.
Then, no, there's yellow.
Oh, is there?
I know the storm warnings, Paul.
Oh.
There's yellow, which is like, there's going to be a little bit of weather. Be careful. Then there's amber, which is, it's going to be really bad weather. If you go out and you're not careful, you might die. And then there's red, which is, you will die. Basically.
I don't think it's quite that. I think it's...
It is.
What is it? It's a danger to life.
Danger of death.
Yeah. I think it's danger to life because they don't sort of put that
It's
negative...
danger of death.
Right.
Danger, imminent death now. Save yourselves. And we're under that now. We're under a red warning.
I did see a dustbin lid a minute ago.
What, flip up like that?
No, it was flying down the street.
Oh, well. So, yeah, danger of death. We're all going to die. So this probably is the last ever Sunday Chat.
Sunday Chat!
And you'll be coming to our funerals very soon.
Isn't it funny how funerals start with the word fun?
Well, they should be fun. I think so. We've discussed that before, Paul. I think you'll find.
Yeah.
So, let's just talk a little bit about Storm Eunice. Storm Eunice.
What about Dudley?
Dudley's been gone. That's the past. We're talking about Eunice, which is currently battering at this time, which is around 9:30 in the morning, is it?
Yeah.
It's currently battering Devon and Cornwall.
Yeah.
Felling trees in its path. And causing mayhem. It's also hitting Southern Ireland at the moment, and it's starting to hit us. Trees are moving, sky is
doing what it normally does.
Scudding along very quickly. There is noise down the chimney of wind, and
you got quite frightened when the boiler turned on before, didn't you?
Well, I thought it was an unsecured piece of garden furniture flying around.
He did. He went, what was that? Oh, it was the boiler.
The thing that worries me the most is our neighbours just over that way are, I think, away because I've not noticed any activity. Oh. And they have unsecured sports equipment, including a trampoline in their back garden, which I think by tomorrow we may own.
We might, yeah. Hopefully our trees that we've got bordering our garden will keep it out. But it may not be there tomorrow, you're quite right.
So, yeah. So it's all a little bit concerning, but I will be doing a video update and some weather reporting later in the day, which by the time you've seen this,
it'll be done and dusted.
Done and dusted, hopefully, and all will be well. If you don't hear from us any further, then you know we're in Oz.
The Royal Mail has cancelled deliveries. Kew Gardens. We went to Kew Gardens yesterday, didn't we? I went, let's go to Kew Gardens, forgetting for a moment that it was half term.
Half term. That's a school holiday in the UK.
Yeah. So we got there, and
no.
Without, we were both a bit. Well, there were so many cars, so many people, so many Tarquins and Petunias
and this was
running around.
This was at 10 in the morning.
10 in the morning.
Time.
Yeah. And I couldn't get on the app to pay for the parking.
No.
And then something else happened, and then some stupid people were saying hello stupidly to some other stupid people. And we both went,
no.
Should we just go?
Let's abandon now.
So we abandoned Kew yesterday,
yeah.
Which I think is the first time we've done that.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just silly.
It was ridiculous.
You know, it was.
The World and his wife said, let's go to Kew.
Yeah, with their Petunias and Tarquins.
With their noisy children.
Yeah.
That's not our Kew experience. In actual fact, we probably could have gone in, but it probably would have taken half an hour in the queue. And the queue for Kew.
Yeah, queue for Kew. Yeah. But we would have had to have avoided about 50 Tarquins and Petunias on the way in, which would have driven us mad.
In reality, we probably could have done our sachet around the back part of Kew and probably not seen a soul, because the families tend to head for the popular parts.
Yeah.
They say they go to Kew Gardens. They don't see Kew Gardens.
No.
Not properly. No. They just shove the children in the play area and go for a coffee.
There's some blue sky.
That's because the skies are moving rapidly.
Well, the clouds are moving. The sky's not moving, is it?
The thing that interests me...
Because we're moving. The sky is sort of staying in the same place, but we're moving as a planet.
No.
And then the clouds are moving as well. And the air is moving.
Please.
But the sky sort of is... there.
Right, we're getting back to the subject that we were talking about. Several large organisations. One time I do that, I'm hoping that money will come out of your mouth.
Like a one-armed bandit.
Yeah, I think they got that.
I was just showing that I got that as well. Yeah.
Several large organisations with gardens and places to visit have closed today. And you know what I find interesting when you read the report for various things, things like several flights have been cancelled. What, not all flights then? Are some flights going to take the chance?
Well, you see, I was thinking about this when I was...
We'll just chance it in the high wind.
But,
really?
But the thing is, I was looking at planes as they were coming in. And I don't know if anyone's flown into Chicago, which is known as the Windy City, but Minneapolis and St. Paul is a very flat area. And when you go into land at Minneapolis and St. Paul, the plane is doing this. I mean, it's very rare I've landed there and the plane has sort of glided in like we're normally used to. So many of these pilots who are flying around the world are used to much more turbulent weather than we get in the UK and land safely. So, you know, they might be taking off in an area that is really, really windy and they come over here and it's windy for one day.
And then you read things like, don't go out.
Oh yeah, you do. Yeah.
And then you read things like, well, if you've got an emergency, call 999. That's the number in our country for emergencies.
111 in America.
Or go to the minor injury unit.
Yeah.
But you told me not to go out.
Yeah. Yeah.
If it's a minor injury, surely you can phone 111, get advice and treat at home.
Yeah, 111 is the NHS.
Is our health advice line
in the UK.
Have we gone too bright?
No, I don't think so. I think I look rather gorgeous today. Yeah.
Okay, so it's the language used in reporting. Do not travel today. Most services won't be running. Which services will be running?
I mean, you know...
The ones that want to take a risk.
Well, it is that, isn't
Only
it?
make essential journeys, even though there's danger of death. What's more essential
Danger to life.
than preserving your life? If I was religious, I would say a prayer.
But you're not, so you won't. No. But I mean, you know, the speed of trains and things, they sometimes slow trains down, so the journey takes much, much longer. But of course, there's still the chance, isn't there, of a tree falling onto a train or
Or a
car
track.
or, you know, anything like
Or
that.
a person.
Yeah, but if it falls onto the track and the train is going slowly, hopefully the train will be able to stop before it hits
Well, yeah, that's the point,
tree.
isn't it?
But if it's, you know, going super duper fast, because many of our railways go through wooded areas and go through cuttings where there's lots of trees, and yeah, it can be quite dangerous, because I've travelled on with trains in America, and of course there's very few trees there.
There's very few trees in America.
Well, on the railway tracks,
Really?
because they don't grow them close to the railway
but
track.
that is the same for our high-speed trains.
Well, yeah, of course.
You know, the links between London and Manchester, most of those tracks are on raised sort of areas with fences.
No, you still cut through.
Very rare
No,
for the
you
high-speed
do.
trains. It's mainly open, Paul.
You do.
No.
That train that goes to Doncaster in like 1 hour 40 minutes or something is very fast, and that goes through cuttings.
Right, okay, Paul. We'll do a study later of all
Yeah,
train
right.
tracks with trees that are near to them.
I do like trains though, yeah.
So, Paul, that's our weather report.
There's quite a lot of blue sky out there. There's
Yeah,
a lot of white
because
cloud.
the cloud is being blown, Paul. Yes, that's blown. God, you're the king of stating the bleeding obvious this morning, aren't you? Gee. So, let's reflect on the week.
I don't think it's been a busy week, has it?
Well, it was for me.
Oh, it was for you at work, yes. Yeah.
Speak for thyself.
Mm.
Yeah, it was. Busy again.
And?
That's it. It was busy.
Oh, that's it. Right, yes.
I went to work, was busy, came home, went to bed at 9:30 on one of the nights.
Yeah, we did Monday
Oh.
night, 9:30.
Exhausted.
I slept through till, I think...
Slept right through to
yeah,
the alarm
7.
virtually,
Yeah.
which is lovely, absolutely lovely.
But I've had a...
Oh, here
Not-
comes the sun. It's going to be too bright.
It's fine. I look gorgeous.
No, it's going to be... Oh, it's not too bad. I'm bleached out. That's good.
I've had quite a busy week doing a lot of thinking and writing, so that's been good. But on Tuesday morning it got really, really wet. I was hoping to get to the plot and didn't. So I did write the next piece for A Guernsey Gardener in London, which will be in the Guernsey Press, I think, on Saturday, so that will have been yesterday. So if it is, I'll be putting the link up everywhere on Monday so that people can read that, because I don't normally get the link till the next working day. So yeah, and that one's, oddly enough, coincidentally, about winter storms, seaweed and soil.
Well, yeah.
Do you mean, well, yeah?
No, I was just thinking, I mean, winter. We normally have a few storms.
Yeah, but it's putting those three things together: winter storms, seaweed and soil. That's what the article's about.
I mean, actually, thank goodness the storm's coming now when there aren't any leaves on the trees. Well,
Exactly.
some trees have got leaves, but
Well, deciduous ones have got leaves.
anything that's blossoming now, let's say goodbye to the blossom.
Deciduous.
It's going to be stripped off by tomorrow. So that's lovely, Paul. Guernsey Gardener in London.
There's a magpie on the top of the house up there, and it seems quite happy blowing in the wind. Look at it.
Can you hear the wind?
Oh, it's gone now.
Oh, there was a train.
It was a train, yeah.
So that's all lovely, Paul. Alexa, please stop. I did a little bit of cookery this week, didn't I, Paul?
You did.
And of course, on Wednesday evening, it's Cheap, Tasty and Filling, my newest series, which is now not so new.
No.
We're now on episode 7 coming up.
Really?
This
Already?
week, episode 7.
Wow.
It's a limited series. It's not going to be going on and on and on forever.
Might you come back to it?
Well, yeah, this is season 1.
Oh, right.
Hello.
Season 1. Right. Okay.
But I did a little bit of experimentation this week.
But what did you do for this week? You did crumble. Fruit crumble.
It was crumble last week.
Yeah.
The one you've just seen. And then we've got another one coming up on Wednesday, which will be utilising pastry. Homemade pastry.
Very nice homemade pastry.
And I'm not a pastry chef at all.
No, you're not.
That just means I don't make pastry regularly, Paul. Not that I'm bad at it. Thank you. So that's going to be fun. But I did a little bit of experimenting this week in preparation for a new episode of Cheap, Tasty and Filling. I was experimenting with soya. Because soya is actually incredibly inexpensive compared to meat. Weight-wise, pound for pound. And it's something that we've always got in. And Paul, you bought on offer very recently, or it might not have been so recently actually, a number of packets of Soya Chunks.
Yes. Yeah.
Now, Soya Chunks are not my favourite thing, I have to say. And we have cooked with them in the past, and they've been kind of like eating rubber blocks, frankly. Watery rubber blocks.
If you get them wrong, they can be.
So I've been experimenting because at the end of the day it's protein, and actually soya is a complete protein, which means it contains all 16 essential amino acids. So it's actually a really good nutrient if you're not allergic to it. If you're allergic to it, skip this bit. So I wanted to experiment to kind of develop a really nice meaty recipe that sort of emulates a gorgeous pie filling. A bit like you'd find in a steak bake from Greggs. That's Greggs, the pastry makers.
I don't. What is Greggs? It's a pastry.
It's a
baking sandwich shop.
Yeah.
It's huge
I used to
in the
love
UK.
Greggs. I used to love a Greggs, a cheese and onion pasty from Greggs. Gorgeous. Oh. And they did lovely sandwiches as well. This is not a paid promotion. Anyway, I wanted to sort of emulate a pie filling like that.
A chunky one.
You know, with lovely chunks of delicious,
Tasty.
tender soya chunks. Whether I've achieved this or not is another matter. You'll just have to keep watching Cheap, Tasty and Filling to find out. So yeah, I had fun doing that, and we ate the result for our dinner.
He was a bit unsure of it. We won't go into it, but he was a bit unsure of it. And I was saying, actually, I think it's really tasty. And I think that's the thing. Sometimes when you make something, especially when you're experimenting,
Yeah.
you can lose the will to live of tasting it, if you see what I mean, and you can overtaste, and therefore you go, oh, actually, I don't like this, and then somebody else tastes it and go, oh, actually, that's really nice.
Yeah, but in fairness, Paul, you eat most things, don't you? Yes. Most things I feed you, you go, that's lovely, that's the best you've ever done.
Oh, no, I do not.
To most things that I cook.
I do.
Because Paul's a little greedy boy.
I don't think so.
When he was a child, Paul was basically sitting in his pram all day, his pushchair all day.
No, I was sitting at the chair at the table.
With people constantly feeding him.
Yeah, that was true.
And Paul would eat most things that you gave him.
Yeah, that was true.
And he hasn't really changed.
No, that is true. But because Mum and Dad had a guest house in Guernsey, I was, we've talked about this before. I've sort of like passed around the guests, so you know.
Sounds a bit weird, that, Paul.
No, well, no, but you know, so I'd sit in a high chair at the table, and one guest would feed me, and then they'd go off, and somebody else would come in, and I'd be sitting at their table, and they'd feed me as well. Yeah.
Or they'd leave you on the doorstep in your pushchair and wait for somebody to take you next.
Yeah, that was a regular occurrence.
Because you were a blonde, round baby, they probably thought, oh, lovely little baby, we'll take him with us. Can we take the baby? People are like that.
Well, they didn't even ask.
Mums are like that.
Yeah.
Aren't they? Oh, let's take lovely bouncing Paul. Then we won't have any leftover waste at the end of the trip. We can just feed it all to Paul.
But Mum did. Dad would be at work, and Mum would do the sort of breakfast sitting for the guests, and then put me in my pram outside the front door, and one of the guests would take me away for the day to St. Peter Port or to the beach or whatever. And
the only warning that Mum would give would be, don't leave Paul alone in a room with those cakes.
Yes.
Because they'll disappear.
There used to be, I saw photos of this recently, there used to be this wonderful bakery called Worries in Guernsey. And
Until Paul went in there and bankrupted them.
It had two restaurants. It sort of had a restaurant which was sort of a bit pricey, and then it had the cafeteria upstairs. And downstairs was where they baked all the bread and all the cakes and everything. And I have so many happy memories of that.
Climbing inside a loaf.
That cake and bread shop. And of course there was Perel Bakery as well. And the snowballs from Perel Bakery were just amazing.
Nobody knows what snowballs are.
They're sort of like spherical sponge with a cut in the middle filled with jam and cream. And then there's coconut on the outside, icing and coconut. And they look like snowballs.
And how many of those could you fit in your mouth at once, Paul?
Only a whole tray. Because that was the other thing at Perel. Everything was in those wooden trays, baker's trays that used to slide out. And in my head, they were about 1 metre wide and about 1/2 metre deep. And they were just full of different cakes.
There was just enough room to sit a baby in the centre of those.
Yes.
So lovely.
Perel Bakery.
Yeah, okay. That's enough. No more baked goods for you.
Oh, you've got some biscuit dough in the fridge, haven't you? You could.
Is it biscuit dough?
Yeah.
Is it shortbread dough?
It's shortbread dough.
Well, I suppose I could make a last batch before the house gets blown away.
Better get the oven on then.
Yeah, before the electricity goes. That's what they're warning.
Well, it is. I mean, power lines, some power lines in the UK, many power lines in the UK are still overground.
Well, aren't they all?
No, they're in a lot of places. They're underground, or they're in.
Our power lines are underground.
Our power lines to houses are underground.
Yeah.
But I mean, much of the power in rural areas still comes overground.
Yeah.
So yeah, as it does in America as well. You see lots of power lines in America. Yeah.
So Paul. What have we been watching on television this week? It's not been really a bumper week for TV this week for Oz.
Well, it hasn't been a bumper week in terms of the quantity, the variety of things that we have watched. Of course, we watched Discovery, because Discovery restarted. Not quite sure why it had a 6-week break, or 7-week break, whatever it was. But that restarted. And
it felt terribly ramped up.
Yeah, it did.
And I felt as though the dialogue is speeding up. They say things very, very quickly, blah, 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 and it's all very technical. And if you miss a bit, you lose half the plot. Really. So I do find that a little bit full on, to be honest.
Yeah.
Along with all the whizzing special effects, and it does sort of sweep you away, which is kind of why I'm looking forward to Picard,
which is a bit
a little bit slower. I And I think kind of aimed at a more mature audience, really.
And I think Picard starts the week Discovery finishes.
Because Picard, obviously Picard was in The Next Generation. We weren't really fans of The Next Generation.
No.
But it's kind of our age group, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you think about it.
Yeah.
The people that watch The Next Generation are kind of us now. So Picard suits that. Whereas Discovery is also aimed at the new generation who are used to all this, constant bombardment.
In your face.
Like video game level bombardment. When I was playing video games, the most bombardment you got was Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah, I never got into
really.
that one.
And but the video games now are like immersion. They're like kind of just mind-blowing quality.
But that's the whole point, isn't it? You get gamer chairs and things which move and...
Which I'm sure if I was that age, I'd really be into. Because I loved gaming. Although there were a few that were sort of realistic. Some of the driving games were quite realistic. Sega Rally Championship that I used to play. Loved that.
What was that dragon one?
Panzer Dragoon.
Panzer Dragoon. I used to like that.
Which was really great.
You used to be on a dragon. The dragon would be sweeping.
You'd be
through.
flying and shooting and
like
things.
That. Yeah. I tried one the other day, which was a murder mystery. One of those animated things.
What, the sort of click on the object
Yeah.
games? I love those ones.
Yeah, I didn't get very far.
Oh, I love the hidden object games.
You have to... I know you sort of kept having to go back to places and... Yeah, I didn't. I think it needed a key down the side so that you could jump to places a bit quicker. Because going down the corridor, around the corner, down the corridor, down the stairs, around the kitchen, into the dining... It's sort of, you just want to go dining room.
The room is good. I've played The Room.
Isn't there several versions of that now?
Well, there's 1, 2, 3.
So yes, is the answer to the question.
Well, they're not versions, they're like sequels.
Well, yeah. It's completely blue sky now.
Yeah.
And sun.
The cloud has blown over, but I think we're about to feel the effects of the storm. I think it's coming in. Yeah. Oh God, help us.
And we are almost at the end of Schitt's Creek.
Yeah, second watch.
We've got one episode left to go.
I think there'll be a third watch.
I think there will be a third watch.
I think it's infinitely watchable.
We watched it. We watched the two. Viewed them twice. Yeah, the two viewings, that's what I mean, have been virtually back to back, haven't they? I think we had maybe a month gap. And I think that says just how good it is. And there's certain things that you pick up on. And yeah, I just love Schitt's Creek. It's really interesting that when we were watching it last year or the year before, neither of us got into it. But I think that's it, isn't it?
Well, we weren't watching it. We tried it. And we're like, oh, whatever. But look, mood and situation, circumstances affect what you enjoy.
So I think one of the reasons that we didn't enjoy it last year or the year before was that we weren't in the right frame, we weren't in the right mood at that time to go with it. And this time we obviously were. Things have changed and we enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They got that.
Yeah, but you did interrupt me. I was
Countdown, as usual, we've been enjoying.
With the glorious Elaine Page. I adore Elaine Page. Worked with her a couple of times. Yeah. And there was a particular play, I can't remember what the play was, whether it was The Misanthrope or something, but she was in a very voluminous dress. It was sort of set in the sort of crinoline dresses and things like that, with the big bustles, and she just looked as though she was being wheeled around the stage. It was hilarious. But she was, lovely. So really enjoying that. In
other viewing news, rather perplexing I find, Amazon have announced their new series of some Lord of the Ring thing.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, really? Talk about flogging a dead horse. Bored of the ring, more like. Alexa, please stop. Bored of the rings, more like. I mean, Alexa, stop. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, what I don't understand is that they're just making up a new story.
I think so, yeah.
And setting it in Middle Earth. So, why not just come up with something original that's not connected to Lord of the Rings?
But I think that's the same with stage things. I mean, there are things that are original, obviously, because we watch original drama. But it is this sort of incessant going back to... Mind you, I suppose you could say that about Star Trek, isn't it? And
Star Wars as well.
Yeah.
They flog these franchises, but I think it stifles creativity.
Well, I see that...
Because it stops the money, and don't get me wrong, I'm really glad that lots of people have been employed to make this new series of Lord of the Boards.
Including one of our friends in New Zealand.
Yeah, that's great. But actually, the money that is spent on that could go into new stuff, totally new stuff, to actually encourage creativity and newness in the world. You know, I think it stifles creativity and also puts people off. And also it limits what they can actually do in terms of putting out stuff. Because how much has been spent on this show?
Yeah, but how much has been spent on all the other shows? I mean, there's so much content being pumped out now.
It's
by all
ridiculous.
The platforms. And actually, it's a bit like looking for a torch on Amazon. You know, you start looking at something and you're bombarded with 40 different torches and you can't decide which one's best, so you don't buy any. And I find that some of the platforms, there's so much content on there now that you just pass over it and you don't notice it, you know.
Eunice, she's here. Definitely.
My auntie was called Eunice.
It's a weird name, Eunice, because in other cultures it's spelt, there is that name and it's spelt differently, but it's a boy's name.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
There we are.
So,
but that's the same in anything, isn't it? Yeah.
So anyway,
we also started watching Sandy Toksvig doing something, didn't we?
Something Escapes.
Extraordinary Escapes.
Something where she goes out with a showbiz friend and stays in unusual buildings that are sort of like holiday homes.
Holiday
lets, posh holiday lets.
Yeah.
Very high-end holiday lets. And you know what?
The one that we watched was with Alison Steadman, who we both love.
I was bored.
Yeah, I was
really bored.
It's very gentle. It's very...
too gentle.
Yeah, I felt it was too
gentle. It wasn't stimulating in any way. I've seen beautiful scenery. I've seen a beach. I didn't learn anything, really. I learned a couple of things that's really getting up now. Yeah.
There was an amazing house with a moat in Sussex, I think that was. Suffolk. And the only thing I could think about was the midges in the summer. They would be unbearable.
Anyway, so that's it for this week's Sunday Chat.
Sunday Chat!
We're going to prepare to swing from the rafters to hold the roof on.
Well, he did say this morning, because he was dressed, he said to me, make sure that you're dressed. In case we need to make a swift exit from the house.
Don't be lolling around in leisure clothes, Paul. Put your jeans on.
I may put my jeans on.
I would. Just in case, you never know. I'm sure we'll be fine.
We were going to have...
You do not know.
No. The charity was organising for the gate of our allotment to be realigned. And the workmen said that they would do it this morning, and I went back to the charity and I said, I just don't think that is wise. I mean, flying debris more than anything. But it would have also meant that I would have to have done a risk assessment for our insurance. And that risk assessment would have been that we don't do it because there would be a danger to life because of flying debris. So that's been postponed, so that'll be another time.
So thank you for watching. It's going dark now.
But hopefully, you, if you're in the UK, have all come through Storm Eunice without too much trouble.
Well,
and hopefully your allotments have as well. Though yesterday I did notice at our allotment there were 2 polytunnels which were already damaged. So that was from Storm Dudley. So I had to I texted the people to let them know. So hopefully they'll have taken their covers down, because
but you can hope all you like.
If
this
they
is the thing.
didn't, it could be in
You
Oxfordshire
can
by
hope
now.
all you want. This is a storm. There will be damage.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
There will be damage. There is damage already.
And stress.
We're going now. Say goodbye. Thank you. We'll see you very soon. God willing.
Yeah, otherwise we might not be able to go on.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Are you doing your Queenie wave?
That's how the Queen waves.
It's coming down the chimney now.
Something's coming down the chimney.
It's not Father Christmas.